Oh, yeah, this is what I'm talking about. I just got finished checking out this DVD I just received in the mail not too long ago. It's Dead Riot. It's the two-disc Grindhouse double feature of Dead Riot and Flesh for the Beast. I watched Dead Riot. Apparently, like I had mentioned before, they took a pretty modern movie. It stars Tony Todd as Shadow. They took a pretty modern movie and gave it what they call the Grindhouse treatment. They added in a bunch of like lines, grain, pops, things like that. The audio goes in and out, gets choppy, vibrates. The only thing they didn't really get right was like when it fades out, when it goes and it fades out. Usually, when that happened, the picture would fade out too, because the audio track and the video were, I mean, the film were together. It wasn't a separate thing. On this, because it's digital, the picture kept going just fine, and the audio would drop out. Not a big deal. Still had that really cool feel of old time movie enjoyment, grindhouse enjoyment. And the movie itself, if you would get it without that treatment on it and it's just the regular film, it would have been pretty fun, pretty enjoyable. You got a guy who gets executed at a prison. He's some type of voodoo priest or something, and he does some ritual that his power is ever so great, and he gets executed, and his blood somehow causes all the prisoners to go insane, and they all get shot down and killed, and everybody gets discreetly buried in the backyard of the prison. Never mind that someone's going to ask where all these prisoners went, but that's what they do. They bury them all in the backyard of the prison, along with the body parts of this guy because he blew up during execution. So 20 years later, the prison is reopened, but as a facility for women. And it's supposed to be kind of a rehabilitation thing that's a little different than prison, but for the most part, it's still a prison. You got the corrupt female guard who's trying to hit on all the women. You got the corrupt medical dude, the doctor, who's trying to get the girls to. He's trying to fill them all up. There's one in particular that gives up the goodies in trade for pills. It's got your tit shots and your bush shots and gore, and because of a couple of random accidents where blood gets into the ground where these bodies are buried, they finally come back to life. One of the neatest things about it was when the army of the zombies were coming towards the prison. One of them, well, two of them looked out of place to me. One just looked really odd. He didn't look like one of the prisoners. He was just big and huge. And another one looked like an old man with a sweater and a tie. It didn't look like anybody that belonged in that prison. I didn't think anything of it. I just thought, okay, why is that there? Later on in the credits, they have two zombies featured, and one is called the the Fulci zombie, and the other one's called the Romero zombie. I guess that was them. The big one being from the movie Zombie, and the other guy being from Night of the Living Dead. So that was kind of neat. And there are elements in this movie that'll put you in mind of different movies. There's a scene that put me in the mind of Cannibal Holocaust. There was a scene that put me in the mind of It's Alive. Just so many different ones. And quite frankly, I had a blast watching this movie. I just think it was the most fun ever. This movie will actually have you wanting to watch it twice. Why, you may ask? Well, I'll tell you. Because they've not only shot this with that grainy, choppy look that the old movies have, but there's an audio track that you can select called Grindhouse Audience. Picture Mystery Science Theater 3000 without seeing the people who are talking. You just hear the voices, and it's a little more abrasive than anything they do. So it's kind of fun. And there were certain scenes that I would see it and I go, huh, I wonder what they would say here. So I'd stop it, rewind it, and then I'd hit the audio track, the Grindhouse audio track, and then let it play and listen to what they'd say. It was pretty funny. So I'm probably going to watch it again with the track playing throughout the whole thing. But if you're into the Grindhouse releases that have been coming out as of late, this is not a movie from the old 70s. Just want to make that very clear. Neither one of them are, but they've given a treatment to make them look kind of aged and old. Some of the visual effects you can tell are modern, a little too modern for that age and period. But still, it was still a lot of fun. You have kung fu, you have naked broads, you got zombies, you got blood, guts, and gore. That's a Friday night right there. So check it out if you haven't seen it already. And another added bonus is that they have trailers on here of actual movies, not made up trailers, actual movies. They had Cop Killers. They had one called Hell's Bloody Angels. And then an Emmanuel movie. I think it was Emmanuel and the Last Cannibals or something about cannibals. But those were a lot of fun to watch. Those really were. So it really brought the authenticity in. The only difference is that when you see those trailers, that's the authentic, grainy look of Grindhouse movies. So when you see the digitized look of grain and stuff like that put in the movie, you can tell the difference. That's the only thing. But highly recommended. Highly recommended. If you have any interest at all in just movies that are just fun to watch, don't have to make a ton of sense, but are just a lot of fun to watch. Women in prison movies, horror, gore. If you're into any of that, this movie is definitely going to be right up your alley.